Hey buddy, and welcome. So here I have my chain guide on my Hyper E ride. It doesn't work with the stock chain ring and crank arms, so you will have to replace it, sadly. Crank arms and crank ring that I have is actually from my Yukon Trail, and it's a 38 system carbon steel chain ring with aluminum arms, and it works pretty well. And this is with the stock chain. I just took off about one teeth from the chain, so basically like one big tooth and then a small tooth, and boom. And it's okay. It still does have a lot of play into it. I would say maybe take off another tooth set and that'll work. But it's doing okay now. I did have to do a little bit of a trick because when I did put the bomb bracket back in after putting this on, the crank arms were a little loose. The bomb bracket piece was actually loose, not the crank arms. So it was kind of wobbling, kind of having a lot of play, and it's because there is a locking ring piece right here on the other side of the bomb bracket. I had to take that off and basically screw this piece in more into the bomb bracket, so it basically ties in with the entire it stays in with the length of the bomb bracket piece. So you might have to have that go on. Either swipe your sensor to this side and try and do that, or basically just keep your sensor there and do that to this side, or get a new bomb bracket that's a little bit more wider so you can fit that. But for my case, all I'm doing is just shoving this in more and doing that for this bomb bracket at the moment. I might upgrade to a standard different bomb bracket that's longer. That way I have more room to put different spacers on or the other sensor pieces and jazz like that. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. I am gonna upgrade the back derailleur. I already have a chain coming in that's a KMC 6-7 speed chain. It's brown with a quick release pin. But basically, I'm gonna have a new freewheel in the back. It's probably going to be the same kind of Shimano freewheel, but instead of standard range that's 28 to 14, I'm going to get the mega range, and it's going to be a 34, and then it's going to be 14 to the lowest. And then to have that work with the mega range, I'm going to have a new 20 derailleur. It's going to be pretty much the same 20 system as this, so it's probably going to have the same amount of play and jazz like that. Hopefully I can have, maybe there's a tightener spring in the back that I could probably use to tighten how much play it has. But it's going to be a 20 TX 800 series, I believe, because I have this bike has the pin arm piece that you can use instead of the claw arm piece that other bikes have. But yeah, I still have my friction shifter on this. As you can see, it's a old basic thumb friction shifter. You can buy a set of 2 of these for $8 on Amazon, pretty cheap, and it works pretty nice. I really like the friction shifter ability. It's pretty basic to work with. Of course, it doesn't tell you the gears like the twist shifter does. And if you're wondering why I have this twist shifter on here, is because this grip is kind of small. So instead of taking it off, I just switched out with a old twist shifter instead of the Revo one, because the Revo shifters are kind of junk with the kind of odd shaped grip piece. And then my other upgrade I'm going to do is I'm going to get a 500 watts front hub motor that's going to be a 36 volt And then I'm going to buy a 36 volt 14.5 rack integrated battery pack, and then have it like that. And then when I get my mid-drive motor system, I'll be able to swipe this out for a standard wheel, and then use the integrated battery pack that's 36 volt. I'm going to buy like a 36 volts 500 watts mid-drive that's going to replace the bottom bracket piece, take out the controller in here, or just unplug it and mount the battery pack straight to the motor system. Well, keep the mounting hardware, plug in the connections from the inside here, to allow the mid-drive system to basically work with the integrated battery ability, and have like that. So that's why I'm buying the 36 volts rear battery pack and 36 volts front hub, because I'll be able to have it all work together. That way I can have it like that, instead of having to buy a 36 volts 500 watt motor system, and then have a 48 volt system in the back. I won't be able to use the front hub, because this is also a 36 volt system. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, you can buy a 48 volt hub system, then buy it for that. But I really don't need much power for the front wheel. The front wheel is mainly just for being able to get from point A to point B, just like that. It's only as a backup power source for the bike. So if the mid-drive fails, I'll still be able to use the front wheel to drive home. So I don't really need that much punch power into it. And it's cheaper. I don't need to go for a super expensive front hub system. The mid-drive already is super expensive. It's like $400. Plus, the battery pack is like $400. So that's probably the biggest investment I have to put in my entire ability. Not to mention, switching this out for a standard wheel is going to cost me over probably $500-600, because when I do want to get a mid-drive system, I'm going to replace this wheel with a cassette system versus this is a freewheel system. And the wheel itself with the cassette hub that I'm looking at is like $120. There's probably going to be ones that are going to be more expensive, like $200. That's with the 12 gauge spokes, I believe, and double walled aluminum rims that have the sidewalls for V-brakes. And the cassette that's going to be a 10-speed system, or 9-speed. And then that's just the wheel itself. That's not with a cassette that's the cassette gears with it. The cassette gears that I'm looking at are around like $70. And then I have to get a compatible chain for it. And then I have to buy new tire tread so I can get better grip for off-roading and whatnot, instead of these things that barely have any grip too much. I mean, they're decent, but they don't grip like super good like the Shimano all-terrain ones that have more bulky teeth piece or tread pattern that I like. And obviously slime inner tubes, which I like that. And then a new crank. Then finding a 40 or lower tooth crank for the mid-drive, and then hoping that the crank arms are also aluminum to keep the weight nice and light. So that's going to be, and I also got to get a new derailleur that's going to be compatible with 10-speed and a shifter lever system. So yeah, that's going to be quite expensive for some decent quality components. pretty much almost as much as this entire bike itself is worth. So yeah, kind of crazy on the expensive stuff. So that's going to be 600. Mid drive is going to be like 400 to 500. The battery pack, about 400. The hub motor, just for the hub motor itself, with all the controller and accessories that's required for it, about 240. And that's not even including the front forks that I want to get. That's about 220 bucks. And then I gotta get new handlebars. I want to get a new piece of this, aluminum spacers, and then some pretty decent arm bars. So this is going to be quite a project for me. But I hope to have this running super awesome with a 500 watts mid drive, 500 watt front drive, and integrated battery in the front, rear battery in the back for distributing the weight from the front, and keep all the weight nice and even with all the battery components and everything. That way the bike is not too much back heavy or too much front heavy with the hub motor in the front and the mid drive in the back. I'm in the middle here. And yeah, and then I can carry all my cargo and stuff wherever I go, mountain climb anywhere I want, and basically shred. So anyways, I'll see you guys later, and peace out.